All right, here we go. All right, everybody, welcome to this is our second official State of the Game Industry guest speaker series. And I'm really excited to welcome Brittany Hougaard here today. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes, you are.
Oh, excellent. I had to make sure. Brittany, really excited to have you here. Before we get started, just to give everybody a little kind of update on what we're doing here, we are building a brand new online games program at Texas State University. And because it's online, we wanted to invite industry guests who really know about what they're doing in game development, game industry, all of that, to be guest speakers once a month. And Brittany is one of our first here to help provide synergy and excitement for games, and also to offer some Q&A for those students who are looking to get into the industry and make an impact. And that kind of brings us into our visitor today, who has a huge depth of knowledge in that. And so, yeah, before we get started, I just also want to tell everyone that as the game is approved, we were just approved at the Senate level today. We're planning on a launch in spring of 2027. So coming up here, we're going to offer a few introductory classes in the fall. They're going to be some of the first courses for the new games program. So anyone listening at Texas State, you're looking for some cool games classes to register for this fall, 2026. We've got three really cool classes. One is AGD 1302. That's the history of the game industry. So we've got an industry instructor who is going to be teaching that class, explaining to just exactly what people do in their roles as game developers, all the way from the solo developer in a garage to those 4,000 team member AAA studios. So it's kind of a really big insight onto what are all the roles from animators to game designer to QA tester and everything in between. So really cool class. I will be also teaching in the fall a class on the intro to game design, where we'll be teaching students the fundamentals of game design, like play testing, creating those game design documents, and building a board game that you will play test and perfect during that class. And another class that's near and dear to my heart that I've taught for many, many years is 3D art. So 3D asset creation, where we'll learn how to turn polygons in a 3D software into characters and environment pieces and how to add color to them. So really fun classes. If you're looking for some cool extra classes next in the fall, we'll be rolling those out. They'll be 100% online. So that's kind of my pitch for the new games program here at Texas State. We'll get back into what everyone came here for, and that is our guest speaker, Brittany Hougaard, um, who I first met at the University of Utah. Was it in my level design course?
It was. It was in your level design course.
All right. So, and honestly, you went from my level design course on to work for um, Warner Brothers Avalanche.
Hmm.
And I'll let you get into the details of about that, but I will say, not to hype you up too, not to like fluff you up too much, but you were one of my top students there, and so it was so exciting to see you go on from the University of Utah and do huge things and really great things. I always love seeing my students like go on and just pass up their professors, which is awesome. So really excited to have you here. I'm going to let you give an intro and then hop into your talk today, which is talking about something that is very beneficial, I think, to everyone now. We have a pretty crazy landscape in the game industries, so I'm excited to hear your hot take on it. So enough of me. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Fantastic. No, you're good. And stop. You're making my head way too big. So I appreciate it, Gabe. In fact, honestly, I figured this could be even a discussion as we go, if it works for you. Very nice to meet all of you guys. Gabe, just to make his head grow a little bit, Gabe was the one of the reasons why I actually was able to break into the games industry as a level designer. His hands-on approach for his courses were absolutely spectacular. They gave me such a practical lesson in how to view design in general, environment design included, level design. I mean, it was very inclusive of a lot of things outside of even just level design. It was funny because I tell people all the time that Gabe was the main reason I was able to get into the industry. And he says no, but I remembered yesterday actually why I say that. When I was so I did get in halfway through my, and I'll go explain my background here in a second. But when I right after we graduate, actually right before we graduated, I graduated the graduate program at the University of Utah in games. I was being interviewed by a company that definitely wasn't Naughty Dog, and they absolutely did not give me a level design test to go do by myself. And I remember Gabe, it was a multiplayer shooter map that I was supposed to design, and I designed it out. And Gabe's feedback on that map was absolutely spectacular, very, very helpful, helped me think about the design exactly how I needed to. And what was really funny was the company that was definitely not Naughty Dog did not end up, I put 10 hours in this thing and they ended up not even, it was a junior recruiter. He wasn't know, he didn't know what he was doing, but he ended up not even setting up an interview, and he quit. But I ended up using that design, that map, to showcase my skill sets with Ubisoft.
Awesome.
And that my boss at the time had told me, he's like, that is what got you through the door with me. Because I had many people ahead of me that had 10 years senior on me. And he knew, because I was able to showcase what I could do, that that's what he wanted. He wanted to bring me in. So, Gabe, you are the reason why I got into this
I
industry.
had never heard that, so thanks for making my head a little bit bigger.
You're
I
so
I
welcome.
don't
You're
need
so
that, but
welcome.
you're awesome. But no,
So,
seriously, on top of that, it's amazing how things that you think are a failure actually benefit you. I can't tell you how many art
yeah,
tests
yeah,
then prepare you for the next interview process.
yeah, absolutely. And going prepared, right? Coming prepared to be able to talk about that. So I'm going to chat through that as well. But let me know when you can see my screen. Um, hopefully that is going now. Maybe not. Can you see my screen, Gabe? Oh, you're on mute. Just FYI.
Yeah, I can see a Brittany Hougaard state of play, so I
Oh,
think we're good.
perfect. Okay, perfect. Yep, that's exactly where we should
Elliot's
be.
giving a thumbs up as well.
Oh,
So
good. Thanks, Elliot. Yeah, so let's chat. So I am Brittany Hougaard, and in Gabe's defense, I was actually Brittany Walker when he taught me, so he didn't know my new name. I am the CEO and founder of Moonlight Games, which is a marketing and small marketing and publishing firm that I founded about 9 months ago. I worked as a Ubisoft level designer on XDefiant, and as a mission designer at Warner Brothers Avalanche for Hogwarts Legacy. Before I started my career in games, I did about 15 years of high tech sales and marketing. Worked in a lot of Silicon Valley companies, made crap tons of money, burned out hard, decided that I wanted to go do something that was more meaningful in my life. And so I made a switch, decided that the fastest route into the games industry was through the University of Utah's master's program, which I had been very well aware of for several years up until that point. And I finally took the leap and jumped in. My career is very interesting. It's a pretty non-traditional path, but it gave me a lot of power in what I do. And hold on one second, make sure on the same side. Okay, perfect. So in technology and sales, it was interesting because I didn't have a whole lot of confidence. I'm going to be really honest. When I first started at the U, I literally knew nothing about game development, or I thought I did, right? I had no idea what the processes were. I didn't know anything, right? The first game that we had worked on, mini game that we had worked on, I literally had to ask my engineer friend who I was on the team for, as a producer, what I needed to do as a producer. I had no idea. So he was kind enough to guide me in what I needed to do. But in my mind, I thought, okay, I, I I don't know if I'm a design material. I don't know if definitely can't do engineering because I don't know how to code. I'm an okay artist, but just not up to that level. And so I was like, I can do production. I've done project management before. That's something that I can do. I can herd cats. That's a skill of mine. So I started in production. And what ended up happening was something very interesting. I found myself being able to pull in a lot of the skill sets that I had utilized as a sales and marketer in my career inside of these projects that I was working within. In fact, I was able to take a lot of my experience as a human being in my past to help me grow. Some of you will know I have maternity leave on here, right? Like I'm a mother. While I was going to school, I was a full-time mom, single mom with two children under the age of 5, working 2 jobs while I was doing this. So it was a lot to take on. But I say that because there are a lot of non-traditional students out there that might not feel comfortable knowing, like they don't have the confidence that they can do it. And I want you to understand that you absolutely can. Some of the things that I took from my non-traditional background were a lot of soft skills that a lot of students do not have if they go directly into the industry. Cross-team communication, being able to help the teams that I worked within, and even went on within like the actual my career itself in Hogwarts Legacy, XDefiant. I was able to communicate very clearly and identify very clearly where my skills fit within the team really quickly. I was able to navigate a lot of high stakes conversations, which happen quite often, believe it or not, even as a lower level employee, and especially as a lower level employee, while you're still figuring out a lot of things, there is going to be a lot of pushback, whether it's from somebody whether it's because you just lack knowledge, or whether it is because you have someone senior to you that just doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in you. Being able to navigate those conversations in a way that allow you to both grow personally, professionally, but also in their eyes as a team was extraordinarily helpful. It helped me build confidence in myself, build confidence with my team, my leadership, but it also helped me continue to climb up, right? Continue to level up myself and my career. I was very good at pitching, right? I was able to take my ideas that I had as a level designer, as a mission designer, and pitch them to my team. And sales does a lot of cool stuff for you that way. Obviously, had confidence, and then resilience. Right? If you go through, if you've been through a lot of crap in your life, you've built up a lot of resilience, and that is one of the most valuable traits people can have in their life. I would say if I were to go back and tell myself about where I'm at today, I would say it's okay. Everything that you've done does matter up until this point. In fact, I used to think that I used to kick myself hard for being late to the game. I felt like I was too old entering this. I was resetting my career at the age of 35. That's crazy. Or it felt crazy at the time. Turns out it's actually not that crazy. People do it all the time and do it very successfully. And I want anybody listening to this to know, like, it is okay to go take different paths into the career that you want. So spent 3 years going through the master's program, spent time working on Hogwarts Legacy and helping them ship. After that, was hired on XDefiant as a level designer, a map designer with Ubisoft. And then Ubisoft sadly shut their doors. They've been doing a ton of layoffs lately in order to consolidate their just overall business for various reasons, which I won't go into because of NDAs. But I decided I had a really big heart to heart with myself at that point that I had two options. I have a family to support. I said, I could either continue to go after jobs that, let's be honest, were like a 2% chance of being 2 to 5% chance of me actually getting, and then very high percent chance of me getting laid off again, making very little money along the way, mind you. Or I could go and take control of my career and do something a little bit different. And I decided to go into marketing. I figured out at that point that there were a lot of teams that were struggling to find their own footing within the business realm and really desperately needed guidance on marketing, go-to-market strategy, figuring out how to position themselves and their design work to be applicable to the audience that they were looking to serve at the time. I worked for a company called Val. They did VR marketing. I did that for a little bit and got my footing in marketing, and then went and opened my own studio or my own firm, Moonlight Games. To talk about the state of the industry, I wanted to give a really honest take. I think that there's a lot of people who are very concerned for very good reason about where we are at. Um, Many of you probably are aware of the massive crash that the games industry took in like I think it was 1985, right, Gabe? Something around there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that sounds right. Was that, well, that was probably post even ET, right?
yes. So I just show ET. That's just so funny. I think that's a funny story. Go look up the ET game if you're not familiar with it, but I just thought it was a funny. Anyway, the games industry has been through this before. This is not new. However, there are many people in the industry who have been around since those times that will tell you that this is almost worse, if not far worse, than when it was in the 1980s. And that's severely concerning because the 1980s almost crushed the games industry altogether. So that brings us to where we're at now. Right now, my team at Moonlight Games, we work with marketing, holistic strategies, go to market strategies. We do a lot of the business side of things. We talk with funding partners on a daily basis. We help our teams, that clients that we're working with, go to market with funding, right? Find publishers, find the right amount of money that they're looking for. So I'm very well aware right now of what is happening in the industry. We have conversations going on a consistent basis around these specific struggles. And what I have found, just full honesty, is there is far fewer full-time roles. The reason being there, that would take a whole nother hour to explain why we've crashed to the point where we're at. So we may have a follow-on conversation, Gabe. But to say the least, right now it's roughly what 5% chance of getting into the industry, maybe less than that if you are brand new, right? It's terrifying. It's a terrifying time for somebody who wants to go and be an employee right now, especially in North America, especially in the United States, where gig economy doesn't work for us. We don't have secured health insurance. We don't have something to fall back on. It's a little bit scary, to say the least. Massive funding shortage. What's interesting is I'm finding that there is funding out there, but it's much smaller quantities. And the reason being is a lot of these funding partners who are very bullish on the state of the industry 6 years ago when it was 2020 and everybody was home and playing video games, they were very excited about investing into the games industry, and they gave money freely. They gave it away like candy at a parade. It was they would take a pitches and they would throw millions at it, which is crazy. You talk about that in any other industry, and that's just insane, right? Any other industry, you have to have a prototype, you have to show that you are worth the money that they are throwing at you. And so it's been very interesting because it's not necessarily that the shortage is because there is no money, it's because we're right sizing, right? Like we're right sizing, sorry. Funding partners are being more cautious, which is actually not a bad thing because that means sustainability in the future once we get our legs back underneath us. In the time being, budgets are going towards very small, tiny budgets are going towards teams that are very lean, mean, and can scale themselves using the technologies that we have on hand right now. Small, versatile teams, even though they have funding, are being asked to work with very, very little. Their funding is stretched extraordinarily thin. They have to wear multiple hats. So gone are the days, at least for the time being, of specializations, right? You don't have a team of 10 members to do design work for you. You have one, maybe two people max, right? So people are being asked to wear a lot of hats. They're asked to be able to, contract work. So contract workers, especially internationally, as cheaply as possible. Obviously, there's some problems there. That is a whole other discussion. And then, of course, utilize the tools that they have available to them. Thankfully, we have a lot of very inexpensive tools, if not free tools, available at our disposal to be able to create games quickly. There's a catch, though, to that, and I'll go into that in a minute. right now, if I were to summarize it, it's an entrepreneur's playground, right? This is a opportunity for individuals who are willing to take up the role of entrepreneur, who are wanting to go build something and make something of this brand new landscape that has kind of just crumbled before us. And it is kind of a hellscape for employees, people who want to check in at 9, check out at 5, and go home. It's unfortunate, but this is kind of the way that things go with games. We ebb and we flow, we break down and we rebuild. And right now we're in a rebuilding period. There's a lot of people who will tell you the sky is falling. People like me, who have a very optimistic view, but very realistic view, will tell you that we have an opportunity now where we have a sandbox fully at our disposal to create whatever we want with it. And if you have the gumption to do it, right now is a fantastic time to get into games. So let's talk a little bit about these two paths, both full-time employment, what that looks like realistically, right? How to get into the games industry, and entrepreneurship. So the first is path to full-time employment. One of the most important parts to understand is being realistic with yourself. I want to emphasize that it is absolutely okay to, as a student, get your degree. Go ahead and it's okay to do whatever you need to support yourself. If you need to go get a job outside of games, you are not a failure. Everything that you do outside of games will translate back to what you're doing now. So don't be afraid to go and continue to build your skill sets as you are waiting for the industry to rebuild, because eventually all of the individuals who've been laid off, these teams are very quickly rebuilding brand new studios. And right now they're rebuilding brand new games. We've seen an incredible uptick of just gorgeously crafted indie games and AA games. Those teams will grow. And as those teams grow, they will have employment for you within the next few, hopefully next few years, probably 5 years-ish, I'm guessing. In the meantime, take care of what you need to and continue your craft. Some of the things that I have seen work very, very well to help people continue to grow as a developer, whether it's in engineering, as an artist, whatever discipline that you're in, go continue to work on your portfolios. If you're a producer, go find jobs in project management. Go into tech. Project management is fully translatable into games production, and I think it would continue to build up your resume while you're waiting for us to rebuild. Some of the career resources that I've found are the ASGC. So I want you guys to go and look some of these up if you're not familiar with them. Amir Satfat he is one of our industry leaders. He actually entered the games industry at 35 as well. He's a good friend of mine, absolutely incredible human being. He currently works for Tencent. And in his very little free time, he has built up an entire organization around supporting individuals trying to get into the industry and individuals who have been laid off in the industry, trying to rebuild their life back into the industry or otherwise. He is an incredible advocate to go and follow on LinkedIn. His resources online are spectacular. His resources were what helped me find my job at Ubisoft. So he will go, it's been a little while since I've looked at the resources, but there is mentorship available. He gives away, he has ticket giveaways for all of our industry events. He is providing so many good resources that are so underutilized by the industry that you absolutely need to go follow ASGC and Amir. Follow them both on LinkedIn. You will thank me later. There's obviously a lot of game job directories. Some of them are paid. I don't love that because that takes, I think that whatever. But there are a lot of great online resources where you can find lists of jobs. LinkedIn obviously is a great place to keep an eye out. Follow all of the different studios that are popping up. They're constantly hiring. Keep an eye out for those jobs. IGDA and Women in Games. Those are just a few. I will try to create a better list to give over to Gabe for him to post, but go and find all the resources you possibly can. There are Google alerts that you can set for specific studios, roles, and quote game hiring, or specific job hiring. Portfolios, keep your portfolio up to speed. This is one of the most critical assets that you're going to have at your disposal. I think one thing that Amir's community does is go through portfolio reviews. If not, there are a number of individuals online who do that, or communities that do that. It's important to recognize that quality is better than quantity. Make sure that you have spectacular work on there. I mean, polished, beautiful. I don't know, Gabe, is there anything that you highly recommend having in a portfolio, minus obviously the very, very best? And then, of course, your contact information. You can't forget that. But anything else you would add to that list?
Oh, I think this could be a fun discussion too. No, really, I think you're spot on with it doesn't have to be the absolute most pristine work, but what it needs to be is your best current work.
Yeah.
And what you need is to have a filter and have this. I've even had people that have been in the industry for 20 years, like as like artists, say,
Mhm.
hey Gabe, here are 20 pictures I want to put into my portfolio, and they won't ask which ones are best. They will ask which ones are the worst,
Interesting.
right? So they'll say,
Why do you say that?
so they can immediately cull those, right? Because they don't want you're judged by your worst work,
Yes.
right? So if you have a really good piece in there and you're like, oh, I need to add some more, and you add something that maybe is subpar, then one of the feedback I've always gotten is they're kind of questioning your ability to know what's good.
It's
And
true.
so people
It's
get
true.
hired off of one piece of work. And yeah, this that's always a fun topic, but you're
We
spot
can
on.
talk
Just
about that another time,
yeah,
but
but
yeah.
and also it depends what you're being hired for. What I
Mm,
like to see is just that you have experience doing X, right?
mm,
If
mm.
you're getting hired for effects work, show some of the projects you learned in school. They might not be perfect, but it's like, okay, I know this person knows how to do X thing and I can train them to be better.
Mhm.
But, and I will shut up after this, but remember your
Okay.
portfolio is an evolution. It's not a final destination. It
Yes.
should be changing completely every 6 months
Yes.
until you have that experience and then it slows down. But it should be an evolutionary thing. And
No.
I'll let you continue.
No, that's exactly it. And you know what? Actually, that's a very good call out. You're right. It doesn't need to be pristine. Perfection kills progress, right? We cannot have perfection without starting somewhere. And I guess to reclassify what should go in your portfolio, it should be your absolute best work. One other thing too, I mean, art is art, but and actually I think it applies to this as well. But show your process. There
Yeah.
is, if you guys, I didn't add my portfolio. I should have. I didn't even think about that. So I'll include that and send that over to Gabe to show to you guys so you can see how I've done breakdowns. But essentially, is to this puzzle is how you decided to go about stuff. If you have an incredible talent for creating something, but you can't articulate how you got there, it makes it extraordinarily difficult to know if you are the type of employee this person is looking for. Being able to show your progress or your process of okay, I started with this basic level design paper sketch. This is how I thought about where each of my key pieces are. These are the constraints that I had in mind. This is how I think about each step of that process. That having that articulated on your portfolio is a great way to allow people to understand you better. And it allows you to have an opportunity to be able to articulate that yourself, because that is a key factor for every single interview you're going to have. So if you're lucky enough to land an interview, you want to be able to articulate that. Staying visible, there's some fantastic subreddits that you can go and showcase some of your design work. No one's going to steal anything. Stop thinking that way. Share everything. Share with the world. Make sure people know and understand what you're good at. I love LinkedIn, man. We have so many crazy different discussions going on. But when I see beautiful visuals or somebody's art, somebody's basic sketches for level design, whatever it is, someone's new rig that they just created. I don't care if it's gray box. It is it's a breath of fresh air and it catches my attention every single time. It is one of the most underutilized platforms for showcasing your portfolio. Absolutely 1000% utilize LinkedIn to connect with people, to showcase your work, and to make sure people know where your specialties are, right? This is what I'm good at. This is what I enjoy do, whatever, right? Showcase it and be consistent at it. There are a lot
Okay.
of fantastic developers. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Gabe.
can I ask you a quick question about
Please.
LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Because I think this is important because I think right now LinkedIn is the place to go to really get exposure in the industry in most industries. But I'm going to ask you this just really quick for because I've seen this happen. What should you not do on LinkedIn?
Do we have another 2 hours? Don't bash people. There's a bullet at the very end of this called karma, and that is one of the most critical pieces to this big pie that is trying to find employment and maintain employment. Just be a nice person. Don't slam people, don't slam former businesses. There are some reasons to call things out, and that is okay. Those are very unique cases, but for the most part, what you want to do is you want to show up as your best self. With regard to showing portfolio pieces, I don't think that there's anything that you shouldn't show that isn't other than potentially not safe for work pieces, right? You want to be careful about content because you will get shadow banned on LinkedIn if you have stuff that's inappropriate. Obviously, don't post anything that is racist or inappropriate at all to say or do. You don't want that artwork anyway. Please don't do that. I'm trying to think of really good examples of other things that I've seen. Um, oh, do not cold message everyone. Don't spam people. And the worst spam you could do when you're reaching out to mentors, potential mentors, for example, Amir, don't reach out to Amir and say, Amir, can you help me get a job? That is the most useless use of a LinkedIn message you could ever have. And the reason being is one, they have no reason to do that for you. But two, you're not giving them any reasons to do that for you. You want to build a good reputation for yourself so that when you're not in the room and somebody else is, they can speak on your behalf and promote you. I am going to skip right to that final bullet. Get karma on your side. Karma is a beautiful thing. If you are helping others and commenting and caring and lifting people up and cheering people on, no matter how, like it can suck sometimes to see other people getting jobs and you're still not getting callbacks. That's okay. Karma's good at rewarding people who take care of each other. Constantly be uplifting, constantly be getting good, solid feedback and kindness and offering to help other people because those other people will always remember that. I think that is one of the biggest strengths in our industry is we are very, very willing to help each other out. And I'm going to tell you right now, the people who don't do that or the people who try to kind of screw other people over, they get ousted very, very quickly and they are no longer part of the inner circles where stuff happens.
It's
Be a good
amazing how the friends you make today are going to pay off 10 years from now.
I absolutely. I think one of the most interesting parts of the conversations I'm having with clients is some of the publishing partners that they have been relationships that they just happen to have from meeting up at GDC at a party 10 years ago. These are just relationships as you build. Like we're all nerds. We all love nerdy stuff. We all bond over that. Just continue to do that with each other. And yeah, you'd be surprised what your network can do for you going forward. So there's unemployed or there's employment for the unemployed in a nutshell. Again, use these resources. There's plenty of great advice there. But what does entrepreneurship look like? Entrepreneurship is an interesting beast, mainly because it can take so many different forms. Generally speaking, if I were to look at this industry, I would say, if I wanted to enter entrepreneurship, I would ask myself first, what am I good at? What do I know how to talk about? Start there and then look for ways to help others using that skill. I was I'm a little vulnerable moment right now. I was very distraught when I was laid off. it was the best job I ever had. I got to go home, enjoy my family, go back to work and create really cool stuff. There was moments where I was designing and I was like, oh crap, I better get back to work. And then I was like, oh yeah, I am working. Like it is such a fun, fulfilling career to have. And it was so disheartening to have that fully ripped out from underneath my feet, along with all of my colleagues all at once. It was so discouraging, in fact, that I decided that I'm like, you know what, F it. I know that there are good people in this industry and I want to rebuild for them. I looked across all of the different studios that have been doing massive layoffs of people with 10, 20 years experience and more. My lead had 35 years just at our studio, right? And I knew from a business perspective, these individuals, yes, they're going to try to get whatever they need to pay bills, but a lot of them are going to want to stay in this industry. And a lot of them are likely going to go build their own studio because that is just the way of things within games. How can I help them? Where can I help them? Some of that may look like just having a consulting business, right? You can be a design consultant. You can be an art consultant. You can contract your work. Now that is it's a hard path. Don't get me wrong. But when you can do something that somebody else needs, there's always money to be made there. And that's the way you have to think about things. So for me, I knew that a lot of these individuals, like I said, just really had the biggest disconnect for all these teams that are trying to go to market with a brand new game, a brand new team, a brand new studio, was the fact that they had no idea how to actually go to market. They had no idea. For the longest time, we had created this gate between business and creative. And that is why we're in this situation that we're in, because business stopped talking to creative and creative no longer had access to business, and business was making decisions for all of us. And they made really crappy decisions. And now we're here. I want to be able to enable these teams to go and be free of these businesses, this business side that really has no interest in actually creating incredible stuff. They're more interested in their stakeholders, their shareholders, and themselves than their actual team. I want to enable these teams to be able to go find their funding, to be able to bootstrap, to be able to do everything that they need to connect effectively with their player base. Hell, I wanted to make sure that they knew how to validate to begin with. So entrepreneurship, if you're like this right here, if you were to go and create your own studio, these are the biggest things that I would say start with. Validate your core gameplay loop before you do anything else. Don't build anything unless you know that that core gameplay loop is really freaking fun, like beautifully polished. Everything you build off of that, golden. Think about Pokemon, like if you were looking at like a trading card game, Pokemon has been played the same way, roughly, like basically at the basics, the same way since 1995. The reason why it hasn't changed, other than, there's expansions and we have EX, we have Megas, is because it started with a very, very basic, strong, beautifully polished gameplay loop. And everything that they've added onto it has only made it better, right? And so if you can start there, that's where you go. Now the question is how do you validate? Because when you're in the thick of it, it's hard for you to be able to take a step back and say, yes, this is perfectly polished. Itch.io is a really good place to do that. There's also a lot of subreddits for people that want to play test that are just fun. They just want to have fun and they want to enjoy that process with you. But itch.io is a really good place to put vertical slices, to put demos. A lot of people are very afraid of putting something that's unpolished anywhere in front of another person. That is the Achilles heel of the artist, right? And I don't know, Gabe, if you want to add something to that, but in my opinion, if we can help get really comfortable at showing our work outside of a polished state, we can start validating so much earlier and we don't have to make as many costly mistakes as we develop. I don't know what your thoughts are, Gabe. As an artist, what would you say? how do we give really good advice? Like what's the best way to help people understand how important it is to showcase unpolished work? And
So
what are the best cases for it?
that's really good. And lots of thoughts on this. So I believe games are meant to be played, and especially the earliest levels, like finding that fun early on.
Mm,
And nowadays, you're mentioning, I love this path to entrepreneurship because that leads into how to market your game. You want to find your community as early as possible, and you're not gonna like wait until you're 2 years into production and then pray that everyone will see it. You want to start building that early on. If you, I like your first comment about validating that core game loop. It can be super simple and understandable.
hmm.
You'll start gaining your community right then.
Yes.
One, and this is the same philosophy I have for students in their senior projects or their thesis
Mm,
projects, right? Get the industry in there, let them see even at the rough state, and then give them something to remember.
yes.
And if it gives them something to talk about, they're going to want to see where that journey continues on, and they will grow for that. They will give you feedback, but they will also be your best friends. Like,
Yeah.
so get it out there, whether it's ArtStation, I think itch.io is wonderful.
Hmm.
Get that validation and get it out at just as early as possible.
Yeah. And showing, I think you're absolutely right. Audience, oh man, this is one of the best parts of our industry growing to where it is with there's a lot of panic right now within professionals that there are so many games coming to market. There used to be a time where if you launched a game on Steam and it was half good, you were like the only one within a couple of days of launching, and you were the only kid on the block. Therefore, everybody saw you. And if you were a half good, a half decent game, you got the traction you needed. Now we're hitting up, I think, about 50 games a day more. We're heading towards about 75, I think, is what I'm estimating for 2026 on average per day. That is a lot of other competition. Steam can no longer be your finder tool to your player base. You have to promote yourself. Now, the cool thing is most of those games are absolute garbage, and the other, let's just say for the AI little games that are coming, that they're just like, oh, I can make something cool. I'm going to publish it. That's the other games. You're not actually up against a whole lot of major competition if you actually look at it. But the problem is Steam is still difficult to gather viewership because there is just so much there. So what do you do? What's jiving with people? And the answer actually is authenticity. Connect
Yep.
early, showing people like here's my basic paper sketch of this game. What do you guys think? People love to find other people who are authentic human beings so that they can connect with them. It gives them this other person that is more relatable. And because of that, that is one of the organic piece to marketing is actually one of the most effective right now. It obviously will change, it ebbs and flows. But if you look at TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, a lot of the traction these indies are getting is because they're starting early, like Gabe's talking about. They're showcasing their work early, they're validating early, they're asking people to get involved in the gameplay. Like, what do you guys want to like? Would you like to see? What do you think about? I see so many good subreddits where people ask, what do you think about this character design? And they get great feedback for free. You don't have to pay QA right then. You have somebody helping you. Do pay QA eventually. They are golden. But it's gets you through that process of bootstrapping that first vertical slice, which brings us to our next funding partners. If you want money, funding partners are now looking for validation. They're looking for social validation, so a following. They're looking for an actual piece of gameplay for you to play. Now, the kicker is it's actually not what you think it is. It's actually not a polished vertical slice most of these guys are looking for. Tencent told us, and I don't even know, I'm thinking about it, maybe shouldn't tell this, but yeah, well, anyway, they when they look at stuff, they really like looking at gray box play. They'll go through, they'll have if they like it, if the person you're talking to likes the gameplay, the core gameplay loop that is in gray box, and that's fun for them, they will give it to the rest of their team and they will give their feedback, right? That's the process now for most publishers and most funding partners. they don't actually care about the art yet. That's okay. You don't have to pay for that yet. If you have it, great. But if you don't, it's not a game breaker. They are like you can go and create beautiful vertical slices just with gray box as long as it's fun. uh, Track who's actively funding. This is an interesting one because knowing who's funding and who this is who you know situation. This is a really difficult barrier, and I'm trying to process how we can help expand this knowledge better because right now working with partners like Moonlight is how you get a lot of these introductions. I want to change that because I don't think that gatekeeping is, I think gatekeeping does a massive disservice to us as an industry. I think we need to get rid of the gatekeeping, right? Allow everybody to have access to the same tools so that we have better games come to light because it should be the best game that gets funded, not the most connected team that gets funded. So set some Google alerts. Do some digging. There's quite a few articles that will pop up as saying this this publishing company or this game development company made so much money, they're now funding other people, right? Keep an eye out and just hunt through articles, put some alerts. You guys are much smarter than I am because you're younger and you know how to use technology better than I do. Go figure out ways to track that stuff online because it is an incredible resource. And following gamesindustry.biz, Game Discover Co., all of the publishing social media channels, they will let you know that they have funding available because they want to get as many options as possible through the door to review and look at and consider for their next publishing project. So keep that on your radar and just be aware so that you don't have to rely on various social circles to get through the door. Last, but certainly not least, again, karma economy is real. This is where a lot of great handshake deals come in. This is where you do find somebody who can help you introduce you to another person and open a door for you. Be kind, be helpful constantly. If you make someone feel good, if you are someone that is creates enjoyable experiences to be around, you are going to open so many more doors than you even realize. So constantly be promoting your, like, talk about what you're working on, talk about where you're going, but at the same time, go and comment on other people's posts, build them up, get excited for them. Go help other people, right? If you see somebody is looking for work and you see another post of that same work that they could connect them, comment, put them over, they will remember that forever. Don't feel like you're overstepping. Like, obviously, within reason, right? If it feels weird, it might be weird, but if it's a kindness, if it's an act of kindness, just do it. Don't hesitate. We live in a world that is already way too concerned about ourselves to worry about others, and we really desperately need each other right now. It comes back tenfold. Trust me on this one. That is why I'm where I'm at. Reputation will always travel faster than any cold outreach ever could. If you ever do, just kind of talking about cold outreach, because that is kind of how a lot of this work happens within employment, full-time employment. If you want to do an outreach, what I would do is go follow the person, interact with their posts, give them sincere compliments, and offer to help wherever you can. When I do cold outreach, I'm offering help first. I'm saying, hey, I saw that you are talking about this. I absolutely loved what you're talking about. It really meant a lot. Thanks for talking about this. Thanks for doing this for the community. Would love to stay connected. If you see that they're working on events, like they say, hey, we're doing an event for this, go volunteer. Oh my gosh, volunteer work is incredible. Volunteer work is what got me through the door with so many conversations at the University of Utah. They were putting, I think, 2020, we all they were redoing the full game lab, and they asked for volunteers to come, and they were paid, but they asked for volunteer students to come and help put everything back together. That opened so many doors for me into opportunities for being a teaching assistant, which paid for half my tuition. It opened doors for relationships that went on to make sure, like, introductions to other studios. I think the relationships I built with all of the professors and the staff at the U opened so many doors, it's kind of ridiculous. Go volunteer, get yourself out there, even if you're introverted. Obviously, if you haven't can tell yet, I'm very extroverted, but even if you're introverted, just go be with other people. Go introduce yourself, go get to know other people, and just be a positive person to be around. That's going to always help you far more than a cold outreach email. Okay, so let's go through key takeaways. Okay, key takeaways here. Non-gaming experience is an absolute asset. Learn to articulate it. When you are trying to enter the industry over the next several years and the industry is not ready for you yet, that is okay. You are not a failure. You are worth everything that you're looking for. You just may need to pivot, and that is okay. Go find adjunct roles that are similar. Art is a really hard place to be right now. I actually want to ask Gabe, one thing that I would love to understand while I'm talking with some of my art friends is, are there places they could pivot in the meantime? Where would you say is somewhere else that they can continue to look for work and experience while they're waiting for the games industry and for other people to bring work to them? What would you say?
I would say a lot of things. I think I love your spot on comments about making sure you take care of yourself financially first.
Yes.
And I got some great advice when I graduated with my undergrad degree. I was kind of in the same position. I feel like it's very similar to where we were now, where I think there's a lot of different catalysts for why we're on a downturn. At my when I graduated with my undergrad, it was the end of the Wii collapse, right? So the Wii had built up the industry, and then all of a sudden it collapsed. And I had an advisor who gave me really good advice that I still use to this day. He said, find your A, B, and C jobs, right?
Hmm.
So if you're an artist, honestly, like this would be a C, but working at Kinko's and helping people with illustrations, like that would be a C job. B might be working with a sign company. Like find some way that you're still using that legitimate experience, and to double down on your real world, your non-gaming experience. I've had students countlessly over the years because you're always helping them build up a resume. And
Hmm.
this isn't just games, but they will come in and they will say, well, I'll ask them what kind of jobs they've had, and they'll say, well, I was a sandwich artist at Subway, and kind of jokingly, but they're like, but I want to take that off, and I'm like, why would you take that off? And they would say because it has nothing to do with art, and I say what it shows is you're willing to show up for
Yes.
9 to 5 and fill bread with lunch meat. Like
You're willing to work.
you're willing to work.
You're willing to
And
work.
being willing to work is like a huge asset. You'd be amazed how many graduates they get their degree and they've never had a job. And I don't know that they'll be able to put in an 8 hour day, right? And
Yep.
so though that non-career experience actually helps you a lot. I go back to my days selling shoes and I still, you learn a lot no matter what you do. Experience is experience. I'll leave it at there, but I'll say for those artists though, keep doing what you're doing at night. Um, if you Some people say if you're doing like some kind of art during the day that you hate, then you're not happy doing it at night. Sometimes what happens is you'll take a job completely art adjacent, and then
Mm.
you go home and do that because you love it and you get to do what you want. So yeah, keep building up that portfolio on this on your off hours. So that's
Yeah.
kind of where it's at.
Actually, that reminds me, and I want to check on time. We okay to, like, I'm almost done here, but I just want to make sure we're okay.
Yeah, we could go over a little over. It's
Okay, I apologize. Thank
no,
you.
no, you're
Yeah.
good. You're good. This is
Hopefully
awesome.
I was gonna say, hopefully it's helpful. Two things that I want to chime in on that. If you are going into if you're going into a program in the university, whether it's a master's degree or it is a undergraduate, uh, do not miss opportunities to work while you're in school. That is one of the most underutilized ways of getting experience taking advantage of a lot of universities' free cash, because what they'll do is if you're working for the university, oftentimes they will supplement your tuition because they have funding for that. Sometimes you can do internships that are directly applicable to what you're trying to go into, even if it's free. Get it done. You're not doing anything else. I mean, besides obviously college. But for God's sake, if I can work two jobs as a single mom of two little boys while going to school and doing my master's program, you guys, as single individuals or whatever situation you're in, can go find a job on campus for, very, very part time and go continue to build experience. Because what that shows, when I look at resumes and I see somebody's gone to school for something, and then I see that they have extracurriculars or they have experience while working, whether it's teaching assistant, lab assistant, even if it's just interning, right? With, for instance, if you're an artist and you're interning for the company up the road as an intern while you're going to school, holy crap. That just told me so much about who you are and how much you're willing to work. That is incredible,
So
because that takes totally different level of gumption.
they have that saying, right? If you want to get something done, find the busiest person and ask them to do it.
I like that. And there's always people, I know it sucks to do free work. I know, and I never recommend it. It's the last ditch resort. Don't ever let somebody take advantage of you, because there are way too many free volunteer positions on LinkedIn, and it's disgusting. Don't do that stuff, because they will take advantage of you. But if you can help somebody else take something off their plate, not only will they go to bat for you and help you find jobs, but you now have experience. And that is golden, especially if it's your first experience. So take anything you can get, go be a hustler. You have control. I mean, think about what our great grandparents and our grandparents had to do during the Great Depression, right? They hustled. They did whatever they had to do to make ends meet. And we're not at that point. We need to have a reality check with ourselves that we got to do what we got to do. And the people who are willing to do it are the ones that make it. So do what you need to do, get that experience. You absolutely can. Both paths are very, very very valid. Sorry, thank you. Very valid. They are also very intentional. There is no hanging out waiting for a job to come. Just because you have a degree does not get you a job. It's just not, that's just not how we are anymore. And unfortunately, we have that reality across the board, across all industries in the United States and across the globe. Be intentional about what you do. Be constantly building, be visible with the work you do, volunteer, help, and be adaptable. It's incredible what you can do and what you can find when you're adaptable. Ship something real, don't build something perfect. Okay, so going back to the conversation with Gabe about your portfolio, whether it's your portfolio, whether it's showcasing something that you guys have built vertical slice-wise, just get it out there. Because the more you do it, as long as you take that first step, you're heading in the right direction. So many people, so many game developers, hell, there are so many people out there that want to be game developers and just don't take the first step because they're too damn scared. So they hang out on subreddits and they go give everybody else advice. You're already one step ahead of them because you started a program to help get you going there. Keep going. Don't stop. You're going to suck no matter what you do. I think one of the best books, what is it, the 100,000 hour, what's the 100,000 hour rule? I'm trying to remember what book that was. And I think it was Malcolm Gladwell. I could be completely wrong. Please forgive me. But there was a time where Michael Jordan, the best basketball player of all time, most of you will know this story, decided to retire and try to pick up golf. He was terrible. Just because you're really good at something doesn't mean you get to pick up something else and be really, really good at it. Everybody starts from day one. Everybody starts from that first line on a paper, that first little hello world bit of code. Everybody starts somewhere. So as long as you just start and don't stop, you will get exactly where you need to be. Developers who thrive will be the ones who stay adaptable. They build the community around them, and they keep moving. And last but not least, everything is going to be okay. It seems really daunting right now to be in the games industry. In fact, a lot of you probably who haven't been in the industry at all probably have no idea how daunting it is until you get there. It will be very overwhelming, and you'll feel defeated. You will absolutely feel defeated, every single one of you. I guarantee it. Just know that there are so many good people rebuilding. We're rebuilding right now, and it's scaffolding. It's not a whole lot, but we're getting there. And we will get there, and everything will be okay. Just hang tight, do everything that you can to take care of yourself, the people around you, continue to do things that you love and that you're passionate about, and we'll be okay. We're going to get there. We're going to get through this together. So that's everything. Please feel free to go connect with me on LinkedIn. I love connecting with people, conversing whenever possible. I've been extraordinarily busy trying to build this business, but I will happily take questions when I'm free. So just bear with me if it's a delayed response, but please go connect with me. I will give Gabe my portfolio link so that you guys can go find it, but it's actually pretty easy. It's BrittanyHougaardWalker.com. So Brittany Hougaard Walker. Oh, and I even spelled my name wrong. Oh my gosh, look at me. It's Hougaard. Go me. I'm so awesome at this. But BrittanyHougaardWalker.com, that's where you'll see a breakdown, how I look through stuff. Anyway, please connect. Let me know if I can help at all. And yeah, thanks, Gabe, for having me on. I'm excited to see where the future takes us.
So this was amazing, and I will say I need to have you back so we can focus in on some of these specific topics because there's so
Probably.
like there were so many things that I'm like, oh, we could talk about this forever, like portfolios for starting out as indie games and that kind of stuff. But let's we I know we've kind of hit the end time, but
You're
if you're
good.
okay
I've
answering a
got
few
time.
questions, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If anyone in the chat would like to ask a few questions, and I have a couple really quick I'd like to ask. But
Yeah, please.
will anyone
Absolutely.
else let
Yeah.
anyone else pop in while we're waiting for a question? One of the things that I wanted to step back to because you mentioned being a single mother, getting your degree,
Yeah.
and so while I was getting my master's degree, I was also crunching on Cars 2, the video game, and I had just had twins. So
That's
while I wasn't a
right.
single parent, it was absolutely, and I was teaching a class at the U, so it
Yes.
was yes, I can relate just a little bit, but I remember one time it was during COVID, and I think we'd all gone online, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this.
I
But
don't
uh,
mind
but
at
I
all.
remember this experience, and we're talking about authenticity and it being a real person. Is I think that one of your kids had an outburst during class, and I remember
Very likely. Yes. Yes.
afterwards you asked to chat with me, and you were so like you were kind of embarrassed about it and upset, and I'll tell you, it was like so not a big deal to me. It's ridiculous, and I just honestly I love hearing that you have a life, and so. I think people find reasons not to do things. It's not the right time or things are too
Mm.
busy. And probably at the same time, while you were telling me that, I probably had a kid trying to like throw things underneath my office doors too, right? That
I've had many fur babies and human babies burst through doors at all of my conversations, whether it was mine or somebody else's. So it's the norm. It's
so I
norm.
so I loved hearing that, and I just wanted to throw it out there that there's
Oh,
never a bad time. Like do what you're passionate about, even if it seems like not the best time. It's never a good time to do anything.
yeah.
And so it's kind of like what you're saying, luck favors the prepared. Don't wait till you're ready to start applying to jobs. Have
Yeah.
your application so that when a job comes up, you can apply, even if you're not perfect for the fit. Just start doing it. Elliot asked, oh, do you want us to grab? Yes, drop questions in the chat, or you can unmute. Just if you want to just
Yeah.
raise your hand, and you can do either one. If you want to speak, you can. If not, I'm happy to read your questions. On top of that, I would like to say with Moonlight Games, you didn't touch on
Yeah.
a whole lot about what you do there. So I'm just going to ask you a couple questions about that.
Please.
One, and sorry if I put you on the spot, what's your you just built up Moonlight Games to help other indie developers be a success and market their games. Where do you see your company in 5 years? What do you want to be doing?
That is a really good question. I've actually been asking myself that a lot lately. Um, I know that right now we do a lot of consulting. To be honest, from a business stance, consulting can be very exhausting. You're constantly chasing contracts. And while I love it, I definitely want us to continue to move to a sustainability model. I actually really like the idea of publishing. I think I happen to have a fairly, like, not to pat myself on the back, I have a fairly decent eye for good games, specifically within genres that I'm well aware of. And I can look and identify teams that are ready to take on the kind of work that it's going to take. So I would love to start funding teams and working with teams with the tools that we have as consultors to also be like an extension of their business team and be able to help get really good games to market. I think there are underserved niches that are haven't we barely scratched the surface on so many genres. Cozy games on Steam are severely underserved, which is crazy to me, but they are growing fast. 50% of gamers are female, and we are a severely underserved population. I'm really excited to go find games that tell incredible stories that fit outside the box and that are unique in what they do. So I that's kind of where I'd like to see us go. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what the future has.
And I think you kind of answered my second question, which was, you have students graduating trying to make their first game. If they were to bring it to you, what would you be looking for?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, I would want to see that because I actually have a lot of these pitches. I went to GDC, I had about 50 conversations at GDC. Half of them were game pitches, indies, and all students. And a lot, like I could tell very quickly if they had their stuff together. I want to see that you have really thought out the gameplay. I want to see that you know your audience, that who, even if you don't have the full research, that's something I can help with. I want to know that you've thought about who you're building for, that isn't just some pet project that you think is cool because you like it. I want you to have thought about like where this fits into the market because that tells me that you're thinking like a business person, like an entrepreneur. You're looking at something sustainable here or wanting something to build something sustainable. Vertical slices are really, really nice. Again, really basic, very, very basic gray box, small core gameplay loops that I can play so I can get a gist of can you do that? Because if you can do that, anything you add to it is golden. It's just gravy. But that piece is crucial. So I want to see a core gameplay loop that you guys show that you can build, that you know how to talk about your audience, and that you have a really strong understanding of why your game is going to be great. So those three things are the most critical.
That was a better answer than I expected. That was really good. I asked that question to so many people at GDC this past year, this past month, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
their answer universally was, I can't answer that. I want to see something with a soul.
I think that's what they're like. If you were to try to articulate it, it's got to be yes, it's got to be fun. It's got to feel good,
Yep.
and feel good means polished little
Yep.
core gameplay loop.
It becomes one of those things that I'll know it when I see it. Okay, we have a great
Yeah.
question in the chat. Elliot says, so I'm coming from more of an audio background. When
Hmm.
teams are putting together their gray box demos or pitches, does the audio meaningfully impact the game at this stage, or is it
Ooh,
something that is better addressed later on? And I'm happy to answer this too after you because this is a great question.
this is a really good question because audio is an interesting beast in and of itself, mainly because it sometimes lands outside of the industry, right? We bring people in. So I think it. Oh, this is a good one. Um, it depends, but I think it's strong to have something like that because having feedback, whether it's haptics, visual, visual effects, and sound, that tells the player that gives feedback to the player about what they're actually doing, their movement, their actions, and having that as part of it is actually part of the experience in and of itself. So even though we talk about gray box,
Yep.
honestly, having those little tiny pieces that makes a big difference on the experience. What are your thoughts, Gabe?
Yeah, happy to do that. But it's coming from the level design gray box background. I always
Yeah.
say we don't want to have polished textures, visuals, and all that stuff because it takes time. And I always say the
Mm,
exceptions to the rule are VFX and audio
yes.
because
Yes.
VFX and audio have the biggest impact on a gray box, and they're easy to adjust and change. And you forget they're there when they are, but you miss them when they're not.
As an audiophile, like it's like a good film score. You don't you the best film scores are the ones you don't even notice
So one of
because
the
they blend so
Yep.
perfectly and that yeah.
I think that a good audio can take an okay gray box to
Mm.
to to being excellent. Honestly, like well thought out audio has a massive impact. Keep in mind though that some people reviewing your portfolio, your demo reel, or your game may have the audio turned off.
That's true. That's actually a really good call out for people to remember
But if
because
they come, yep, but if they come back to it, turn it on, it's huge impact. So don't wait till later. Audio should be an initial thought. That's actually what, while I was an intern, I got hammered on that all the time. Have you thought about audio? Have you thought about audio for my time at Disney too? And it really, I was like, yeah, it's easy to just put in sounds. You just have a trigger and it just does it. And I could go off on audio forever, but to answer your question, absolutely, that should be at the beginning stage.
yeah, be involved in those projects too because everybody needs it.
And
There are not near enough audio
no, I always say
sound effect
one
people.
of the easiest ways in the industry is actually audio. And most audio techs do it because there was a hole in their project. Nobody wanted to do audio.
Yep. And
And
it
so
makes a big impact on their team's project.
they do audio and they're like, this is kind of fun and people pay me for this. So they get jobs. So yeah,
Good
great
question.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if there are no more in the chat, I'll just kind of land
Yeah.
it on one more question. What was I going to ask? Okay, here's a great one to end it with. Um, I'll kind of make it a two-parter so we can extend it a little bit longer. But for students entering and working on like their senior capstone projects,
Mm.
or even entering that experience. And actually, now that I'm saying this question, I'm going to change it. So,
Oh, go for it.
Brittany, you were back working on your thesis game,
Mm.
or pretend it's a graduate, undergrad, senior project. You're
Okay.
working on that in the past.
Okay.
You can go back to yourself right now and give yourself some advice.
Ooh. Ooh. God, that's a good one.
And I'll narrow it even closer because I'm having fun with
Yeah.
these questions. You can give yourself advice to share with your team to make that game a bigger success than it was. What would you tell them?
Start small. Stop, stop making it so much bigger than it needs to be. You think as a team, your project needs to be a certain amount of time to be valid or to be liked. It needs to have grandiose graphics, blah, blah, blah. Focus on a very small but awesome experience because you can have time, you can build on that, but you can't shrink it. If you are because there's a lot of ambitious people, and that's great. But that is also one of the biggest hangups for most teams. And so if you can learn to scale down your scope of work to a point where it is more easily manageable and to the point where you can polish it to be absolutely spectacular to play, like do it. Do it. Make it one level. Don't feel like you have to give it the moon. Polish one small little piece and get that core gameplay loop done. Don't build anything else. It is so tempting, especially with a team. Like I think on our thesis project in graduate program, we had almost 20 people. So we had, oh, we can build a AAA level game, blah, 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 blah. And was it cool? Yes. But we did not take the time to really, really fine tune that first gameplay loop, and that hurt us. Like it was a good game, but it wasn't great. Sorry, team. Love you guys. But that focus on that really strong first player experience and then build from there. Scope
All right.
small, don't be over ambitious.
Beautiful answer. And I know I said that was the last question, but any
Oh
final
yeah.
words for young students or developers who are planning on entering either the educational scene or the industry? Any words of positivity to end this with?
Oh yes. One last thing I would tell you that has served me well in every single career I've ever had. Network, 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 network. Be everybody's friend. Be a golden retriever. I know that's easy to say because that's like something that I've built up over time, but say hi to people, smile. Like people aren't going to be annoyed if you go and be kind to them. Network, network, network. Because again, like Gabe said, that you never know when somebody is going to be able to help you out or you're going to be able to help them out. And that's how we rebuild. So network, network, network. Say hi to everyone. Get to know people. Know what they ask them what they want to do. What is their goal? Help them work towards that goal. It's surprising how many people will drag you along because you're interested, right? Like this is we are not islands of human beings. We are bunched up together for a reason because we have to take care of each other. And that is where we thrive as people. So, yeah, that's my advice.
Awesome. Brittany, thank you so much for taking the time to share your insights and knowledge with us today. It's
Sure.
been super helpful for everyone watching, and we will share this video so others can hear it as well. But thank you so much, and everyone who visited in this for this talk, thank you as well. So
Yeah, thanks.
we may have one more comment. I'm hoping. Let's see. Oh,
I'll just
thank
say
you.
thank you.
So
Thanks, Ellie.
thank you. Awesome. So thank you so much. We went a little bit over, but it was well worth it. We'll have to have you back soon.
Perfect. That sounds good. Anytime, Gabe. Anything for you, man.
All right. All right.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you so much. We'll see you, everybody.
Bye.